Tuesday, May 23rd, I graduated high school 34 years ago today, which is crazy to think about. Today, first up is just going to get these new doublers riveted onto the spars, obviously making sure that we preserve the holes that need to be saved for later. Once that's done, we'll be riveting all of the main spars to, or rather the main ribs to the front and rear spars so that we can final size drill all the attach holes. Take that all apart, and then all of these ribs will need to be scuffed, cleaned, and primed. We'll see how far we get today. So let's just get into it.
All right, let's get into it. Starting off is riveting the doublers to the rear spars, which was really quick work. I think there are so many holes that need to be left open for aileron attach brackets and ribs that there are only a total of 22, I think, between both spars that actually get it riveted on. And then got that one clecoed onto, that's the left wing. And then went right back to riveting the other rear spar just to have that part of it done. Then the next thing I'll do is move on over to the left wing and final size drill all of the matching holes. You see that I got, the first thing I did was went with the compressor and cleaned out any little chips from along the those doubling bars, the big doubling bars on the main spars, and then put tape over it so nothing else can get in there. And then just upsizing or final sizing the holes, the rib to spar attach holes up to number 30. Not a fast process, not a slow process, definitely not difficult. But this whole day turned out to be 8.5 hours. Obviously this part of it, all of it between the two wings was maybe 3 hours of just assembly, disassembly. I tried this way the first time, assembling the mocked up wing on one table. And I wasn't crazy about it because that the main spar is so much heavier than the other parts that if it were to be pushed off the edge, it's a possibility that it could flip out. So you'll see on the next one, I'll scoot the tables together and do it this way. I like it a little bit better. But then I think you'll see at the end of this, when I disassemble it, I decide, oh, you know what? This time I'll remove all the clecos from the main spar, get the main spar out of the way, and then detach the clecos from the rear spar. And I ended up not liking that because the rear spar isn't very rigid. So the ribs that were hanging, off the end of the table, those ends of the spar, kind of not severely, but there's like a little bit of twist as they hang there in the wind until they're removed. So I didn't like that. Anyways, more of the same here, just getting it all clecoed together, all the holes lined up nicely. I think, I guess if we backed up a little bit, you would see that I had attached all the ribs to the main spar and then went back and did it almost a full second time, because when I got to the outboard end, I'm like, how come I have an extra rib here? And it's because I started one space too short on the inboard section. If you look to the far end, the inboard section of the wing, it looks kind of crowded right there because you have, I think, 4 ribs all in a very short space. That's the wing walk area. So it's got, some extra structure there. And the inboard most rib, I started one space outboard and had to reattach all of those. But everything is in the right sequence. It's all getting taken apart here, deburring the spars. So those will be ready to go later on. And then I get into oh man, I I'm not going to show you again here. I showed you before sort of the condition of these ribs, that they kind of have that discoloration on them, and they've been sitting in that, garage for a long time in a humid environment, which means they have very early indications of corrosion that's going to start on them. So this scuffing cleaning process was really the bulk of the day. I think by the end of the day, I had done one wing's worth, so 14 main ribs, scuffing, cleaning, and priming. But yeah, these, I forget, what did it take me? It took me like 4 hours, 3.5 hours just to do this part, just to scuff 14 ribs, 3.5 hours. And then because, compared to the way I usually clean these things, these are many and they're awkward. So I ended up moving into the kitchen and setting a bunch of towels on the countertop. I think I've got a photo of it coming up here. But yeah, I think I got through 7 of these, took a lunch break, came back an hour later, and did the last 7. I guess one thing that's kind of interesting about this, you can see that I've got a palm sander out there. I've never done this before, but I basically cut a piece of Scotch-Brite pad in the shape of that palm sander, and it doesn't necessarily even speed up the work because there is a lot of elbow grease that goes into this. But it does relieve some of the fatigue, when you've got these areas with discoloration and little nicks and whatnot. You kind of have to work at it a lot. So this basically does a lot of the light work, and then you got to get in there and work pretty hard to get the rest of it. Good news is 1 wing's worth of ribs are done. Or main ribs. Bad news is still 1 more wing to go. So, this was, man, wing rib prep is tough, and I would say that I made it tougher on myself by keeping these ribs stored in the garage, in the crate, near that concrete floor for 2 or 3 months before I got to them, because those are sort of the prime conditions for the beginnings of corrosion in an environment like this in East Texas. So had I, taken everything out and put it inside the house where it's less humid, then this probably would have been an easier process. So lesson learned for next time. So getting these finished up, and then I think in a second here I'll show you a photo of my kitchen once I've gotten them all cleaned and ready for priming. And then wasn't really planning on filming the priming, but then why not? It's a few seconds of GoPro. So thanks for checking it out. Today I'll get into prepping the next batch and maybe getting some of these riveted onto the left wing. So we'll see how that goes. There you go. Messy kitchen. It's all cleaned up now. Definitely a can and a half of primer. It's frustrating spraying primer with these lightning holes when you know that you're just sort of blasting through to the ground. But anyways, that part is done. I finished up about 11 o'clock last night, and I guess I should stop recording voiceover right now so I can get back at it today. I'll be happy when this part of the project is complete. So anyways, thanks for watching. Throw it a like and subscribe if you like it. And if you don't, I do really appreciate you stopping by. I've been thrilled with the support of the channel so far, and definitely the interaction that I've had with a number of you. So keep the comments coming, and we'll see you on the next one, which will be episode 49. Hard to believe. Take care.